How's it going, everybody? Connor Moriarty here, and thanks for tuning in to yet another video. Today we got a really quick, really simple video. I'm going to show you 3 super easy ways of how to remove a zit in Photoshop. Let's do it. So that's right, I have 3 really simple, really easy ways for you to quickly remove a zit in Photoshop. Those ways are called the brush, the clone, and the patch. Like I said, they're super simple. They take 1 minute once you get the hang of it. So without any further ado, let's jump straight into Photoshop and I'll show you how it's done. Alright guys, so we're over here in Photoshop and I've already pulled up a really pretty portrait that I got of a couple named Luke and Stephanie. I just got it this past weekend. I went and photographed their really urban wedding. It was an amazing wedding. I loved it. They both have amazing skin. If this was just a normal editing session, I would not touch their skin. It looks great, but for the sake of this video, I'll use them as an example. So, like I said, the first technique we're going to show you is called the brush technique. And let's first start off by Command J to duplicate this layer. We don't want to be making adjustments directly on our image. And we'll come over here. You'll see the spot healing tool over here. J is the shortcut, so you can just hit J and it'll automatically appear. Your settings up here, your default settings should be fine. Just zoom in on a blemish. And this is the simplest one. This one is crazy easy to do. You'll see why, but it's also not the best. It's really best for just really tiny, insignificant blemishes that you can't really see because it doesn't do the best job. So make it about the size of your blemish here, and seriously, it's as simple as clicking. That's all you got to do. Just click a few times, and it just samples from the nearby areas and just covers over it. As you can see, it didn't do the best job. For our purposes, it'll be fine, but I wouldn't personally use it on a blemish that big. I would zoom in to maybe, if I wanted to get rid of these pores for some reason. I wouldn't want to, but make it really small, and it just zaps some of these pores away. Just little things like that. It's really simple, doesn't do the job too well. It's not my personal favorite, but it's really easy. Now the second one's a little bit more difficult, but it definitely gets the job done better. So let's go over here, delete this layer where we made our adjustments, make a new one, Command J, always remember that. And this next one is called the clone stamp. So go over here to this little icon. The shortcut is S. You can just hit S and we'll get the clone stamp. So if we zoom in on the same blemish here, I'll explain to you what the clone stamp does. Basically what the clone stamp does is it's a tool that samples a part of the image and replaces it wherever you want it to be. So I'll show you it. It's a little easier to see when you see it in action. So if I make my brush this big and hold down Option, I'm holding down Option right now, and clicking, I'm taking a sample of his eye. So now if I move my mouse, you'll see that I'm taking that eye with me. And I can go over here and I can paste that eye directly on her forehead. Beautiful, right? So that's what it does. It takes a part of the image that you select and it lets you paste it anywhere else on the body. Now what I showed you, it's pretty dumb, but if you use it in moderation, it can look really good. So if we make it smaller, let's zoom in a little bit, and we'll make our brush tool about the size of the blemish. And let's hold down Option in a part of the skin that matches the skin where the blemish is. So right next to it here, hold down Option and click. And as you can see, we made a selection here of his skin. Now if we take that selection and just move it straight over the blemish and click, look at that. Can't even tell. It does the job so well because you're literally taking a tiny little photo of his skin and placing it over the blemish, so no one will ever be able to tell that you did anything. Like I said, this one's a little bit more difficult, but once you get the hang of it, it's super easy. So if you just make a selection there, click and drag there, you can do a million of these at a time, super quick. And as you can see, I'm replacing all these very simply, just making selections nearby and pasting over it. So there you go. That one was nice and easy, a little bit more difficult, but works a lot better. So finally, last but not least, we're going to move to my personal favorite, and that is called the patch tool. So if you go up to here where the spot healing brush tool that we just worked with is, click and hold on the icon and come down here to the patch tool. Now let's make sure to delete this adjustments layer we just made, make a new layer so we're not drawing straight on our image, and let's zoom in. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Let's zoom in on our blemish again. Hit J as a shortcut for our patch tool. Now that we're selecting it, we can just hit shortcut J. And I'll show you why this is my favorite method of removing a blemish. Basically, all it does, or all you need to do, is make a rough circle, doesn't need to be perfect, around the blemish, and literally it's as simple as clicking and dragging to somewhere else nearby that's close to the colors or texture of what you're trying to remove. So if you just click and drag it anywhere, let go, Photoshop will automatically sample the image nearby and replace it and make sure there's no hard edges and it looks great. So if I go back, I can show you what you shouldn't do. You shouldn't make that circle and click and drag it to a part that doesn't at all match the selection you're making. So here I'm dragging it to a shadowed, dark, hairy area. And look, Photoshop has no idea what to do. Completely screwed up, you can tell. You know, that isn't what it's supposed to look like. It's horrible. So let's undo that. Step backwards a couple times. There you go. Make this circle again. Like I said, it can be rough. And you just click and drag. It's as simple as that. And it does the trick. Most of the time, it does super well. You can mess with the diffusion here. That basically affects how feathered it is. But most these settings will, for the most part, work for you right off the bat. If we come down here to these, I'll show you how simple it is. Press J to get it again. And look, if you can draw a circle and drag, you can do it. It's that simple. How many of these am I doing every few seconds? You know, super simple. You don't have to be clean about it. Photoshop is magical. I don't know how it does it, but it does. And that's it. Just like that, in a few seconds, literally in less than a minute, I removed all those blemishes that you can't even tell they're there. You can't even tell I did anything. Guys, this is my favorite tool, clearly. It's the easiest, in my opinion, and it gets the job done better than all three of them. But, based on what circumstance you're using, all three of them have their place. So that's it, guys. Like I said, it's crazy easy to do this. Each one of these things takes less than 1 minute to do once you've mastered it. So go ahead, try them out on your own photos. Let me know which one was your favorite, which one was the easiest. I'd love to hear it. As always, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button below, as well as the subscribe button. It really shows your support for the channel and for me producing more content in the future. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Have an awesome day.